Today, we're going to talk about men's health and how we change that conversation around men's health and aging. If you're new to the channel, I'd love you to subscribe. All you got to do is click on that little red button below with that little bell next to it to be sure to be notified whenever we post a new episode. And if you're liking these videos, I'd appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up. That way it tells YouTube to share it to other like-minded people. Today, my guest is medical fitness trainer and co-founder of the Ageless Workout method, Nate Wilkins. Nate is 68 years young. You wouldn't even believe it when you see this video. It's crazy. He has such an amazing energy about him. It's discipline and just, I was kind of really blown away, to be honest with you. He talks about how we really need to think about aging, not only in the way that we talk about it, but more importantly, the way we think about it. And that's really the first step. So you've got to check out my conversation with Nate. Nate, thank you so much for being with me today.
Hey, thanks. It's my pleasure.
I am excited to talk to you about men's health. I think that it's something that kind of falls a little bit under the radar sometimes, especially as we talk about aging issues and things. I think that conversation gets very narrow and limited. So I'm hoping to kind of blow it open. So tell me, before we kind of get into our conversation, I want to know a little bit about you and your background, how you became a fitness trainer, how long have you been doing it?
Yeah, so here's what's interesting. My background is sort of mixed, right? Second career. I was a Parks and Recreation administrator. Actually ran Parks and Recreation departments in several cities. And then later on went to work for National Recreation Parks Association as their chief administrative officer. Man, I thought that was, the epitome of the positions that I could hold. And when I got to greater Washington, D.C. or Northern Virginia with offices all over the country, and in that sort of glorified cubbyhole, I realized that wasn't the work for me. But I felt like there was no courage in staying where I was. I was in a growth process. And so I spent about a year or so with National Recreation Parks Association, moved on, and then came here to North Miami to run a park and recreation department, the North Miami Park and Recreation Department. Did that for about 3 years. And as fate would have it, the city manager of the city came to me and said, Nate, you got two choices. You can resign or be terminated. I looked at him and I said, well, I'm not going to pick up the gun and shoot myself. You'd have to fire me. So I got fired. And in that whole process, it led me to, because I was already working on my health, right? Teaching and taking classes around health, wellness, and fitness. And so that led me into managing. I got a position as a fitness director. I managed at the Point of Aventura. And later on, as it would go, I thought, well, if somebody else can do this in terms of a business, then I can do it. And so that led me into about 2006 to open up my own business and then partner up with my partner, Sheila. And so that brings us to today.
So what area do you focus in terms of fitness? Like what part does it play in your life and then in the lives of people, because you're how old now?
Oh my God. See, there you go. There you go. You're asking me how old I am. You should say, how young are you, Nate? I'm 68
How young are you?
years young, 68 years young in the race to reach 100 or 120. So, for those people who think that they're old, I mean, that conversation, that's one of the things I want to talk to you about. We need to change that conversation. You see, here's the deal. We know a lot about the human body. And so, for some people, they bought into the conversation about being old, right? At 68, you ought to be doing this, and all of these, sort of, ageism things that happen. I read it, I look at it. So we're even looking at the images that we project, and we want to change the conversation. And so, I'm not coming at you, but what I'm saying is anybody who wants to feel a certain way can join what we're doing, the Ageless Workout Tribe. I want to look good. I want to smell good. I want to talk good. I can still do squats. I can jump. But that's not the most important thing. The most important thing that I would share with you is about my health, right? I want my health to be tip top. So I'm doing everything I can, looking at biomarkers and finding the best doctors and linking up with the best kinds of people and the energy like yours to do the stuff that I want to do at this age because I haven't used all my stuff yet.
You clearly have not. I don't think anybody would ever believe that you're 68. And I love your energy and I love your attitude about it because it's so true, right? It does all start here, first of all.
Sure,
Right?
absolutely.
If we feel like we can't do something, of course we're not going to be able to do it. But if we feel like we can and that we don't have the limitations that we place on ourselves are pretty strong. And those limitations allow us to stop ourselves from being what we could be. So in terms of health and wellness, tell me a little bit about the things that you're doing. Like what kind of attitudes and what kind of practices do you incorporate into your lifestyle that helps you to be this 68 years young?
Yeah, so I don't advocate my stuff for anybody else. First of all, I learned when I get on the airplane, they always tell you put the mask on yourself first before you put it on somebody else. So self-care is not about being selfish. It's really about, taking care of yourself so you can then go and help somebody else. So 3 times a week, for the most part, 6 a.m., you can find me at a boxing fitness program. I'm not talking about, boxing somebody else. I'm using this for my mental toughness. So it's the squats, it's the lunges, it's the burpees, it's the hitting the bag, it's the running up and down the alley because I want that huffing and puffing. I want to clean my system out. Not to mention there's some younger people there, and I want to challenge those young guys and those young ladies. I want them to know that there's somebody else out there that's going to give you a run for your money. It's not about the competition. It's about saying, hey, you need to change your conversation. Now, I'm not going to allow you to hold me accountable for being old. I'm saying that what I'm doing is finding out more about myself. And then I want to find out about you as well. I want to know about technology. I want to know about your circle of friends, what you eat. I want to bring you into my conversation so that whole exchange, socializing with, young people so young people can learn from me and I can learn from them. So that's one of the things that I'm doing. And then on another day, I'm doing functional training, right? Because I need to move my body in certain ways. See, here's the deal. If you don't move, you won't be able to move. So the more that I can move sideways, up and down, learning how to move the best way I can. Now, I'm not going to the Olympics. What I'm saying is that I want to use the skills. I want to use my body the way that I want to use it. So then I do that. And then I also, try to find a way to be mindful or to meditate. So sometimes, maybe once or twice a week, I'm doing massage or I do my foam rolling. And then, sort of getting away into nature. And so maybe she was talked about that. But we do ecotherapy, right? We're getting outside and just breathing the fresh air. So these are the kinds of things that I'm involved in. And then lastly, the challenge around technology and learning, challenging my brain at a different level, learning as much as I can. I would contend that these are the types of programs that I would recommend for anybody who wants to be considered young.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's not just one thing, right? It's a series of things, how we incorporate them all into our life, that creates the vibrancy and creates the vitality and the attitude and all that kind of stuff. It's amazing. So what can men do to age better, right? What can they do to get up off the couch? How can you help motivate them? Like, what should they be thinking? What kind of conversations should they be having? Why are they all on the couch? Why are they just sitting down all the time? Why are we all sitting down all the time too much?
Well, let's backtrack a little bit. Some of it has to do with going through the pandemic, and And then some just, some have sort of bought into that old conversation that when you get to be a certain age, you ought to sit down and retire and what have you. Take a look at some of these athletes as an example. They played all of their best years, so to speak, and they were in tip-top shape. And as soon as they retire, you look at them, and some of them are just overweight, out of shape. I mean, they just have given up. And so it's I would say it's mostly men, and I'm talking about men that I know, and I'm not trying to make an indictment on those who have taken care of themselves. I'm saying for what I've seen, and there are many of them. They just sort of have said that they've done enough, and so they find themselves in a place that here's the deal. They say, one day I'm going to get up and do it. And then the next day they don't get up and do it. And then, that day leads to a week. And then that day leads to a month. And then 6 months and then a year. Then why? They can't even do anymore. So a lot of the challenge is, inside, right? Going inside yourself and saying, I need to do something about myself. And then get yourself around people who are doing things that you want to do, right? It is true. The people you associate with will rub off on you. So you want to be around some different people. You want to change the sort of conversation in your house as well. Maybe walk with your significant other or your children. So start a program that gets people active, get your family active, you active, and maybe it's the first step, right? So let me just say this to you. You got to meet people where they are. So maybe it's putting the shoes beside the bed. And then the next step is maybe putting your feet in the shoes. And then the next thing is standing up and sitting back down. These are the kinds of simple things. And then lastly, I would say that most of us and most men probably don't believe that they're going to check out if they don't do something. So, you got to come to grips with the reality that time is short and winding up, and you need to do something to stay, at least active, I would say.
So in terms of just some practical exercises or practical movement that men could be doing at a minimum, that doesn't take hours at a time. What are some of the things that you would recommend that are kind of low bar, right? Kind of helping people meet them where they're at.
Mm-hmm. I think everybody should think about having a fairy friend, like a dog or something. Then you get up and go, and they'll get you up in the morning to go for a walk. And when if it's early in the morning, that'll give you an opportunity to get some fresh air, breathe the fresh air. But also that'll give you some time to be more mindful and thinking about your own sort of mortality and your life and where you want to go from there. So about 10 or 15 minutes of that. I think that just basic movements are good for some men. Some of us don't move our arms as much. So just lifting up your arms, standing up, doing some stretching. And, I like dynamic stretching. I think some people, want to do the sustained stretching, right, where you hold it for a long time. And I think that's at the end of a workout. But if you are sort of moving around and sort of simulating a workout or something where you move your legs with a lunge, or you can act like you do a push-up on your knees, I think these are the kinds of things. So if you don't even have equipment, then you can actually elevate your heart rate just by swinging your arms. So it's really simple. You don't have to have a gym to be able to move. And the more you move, here's the deal. So if you go for 5 or 10 minutes, then add 1 more minute or 2 more minutes, you would have, you could call yourself a fitness person or athlete just by the nature of you doing that. And then, so let's go back to what you said earlier with this notion of it starts in here, right? So the mind can tell you that it's okay. You don't have to do anything. You're okay. and knowing all the time that maybe you look good on the outside, but your inside is sort of in trouble. So I would think you got to work on your mind as well, and then program your mind with your mouth. Tell your mind to shut up and leave you alone, and let you take better care of yourself.
I totally agree. Uh, yeah, I mean, sometimes it's a little bit easier said than done for a lot of people. But I feel like those people who are going to be watching this interview, I feel like I'm about to go up and like go exercise now.
Uh-huh. Well, that's a good thing. It doesn't take a whole lot. I mean, just go run around the block. Maybe that's what I'll suggest for you, or take a walk around the block.
Yeah, and it's funny because I walk my dogs every morning, early in the morning, 6:30, or so. Or that's probably late for you, but and we walk for about an hour, hour and a half. And now it's become my non-negotiable. In the beginning, it was kind of a drag, but now I definitely need it before I start my day. Otherwise, I just feel completely, unbalanced. And, I just, there's so much stress at the beginning of the day unless I do that. So I completely 100% agree with you there. So if people tell me a little bit more about Ageless Workout.
So let me say this to you, and I'll get into the ages workout thing. But here's what we say in the book. It's one thing to get involved with health, wellness, and healing, right? But it's quite another thing when it gets inside of you. You won't even need an alarm clock. You'll get up because you're looking forward to that feeling, right? Sometimes you think that it hurts and sore and stuff like that. But if you continue with consistency, then you'll be looking forward. You'll be trying to ask other people to come with you and share it with them. So with them. So that's what I heard you say. But the Ageless Workout is a method, right? So you asked me about the Ageless Workout. It's a method. It's this combination of the experiences that Shiva and I have had over a period of the years we've accumulated, right? So if you want Pilates, we can give you a little bit of Pilates. If you want squats and lunges, a boot camp style. And again, let me say this. What we do is not for everybody, but we can modify. We got about, 3 to 4 different modifications that we can give to people. But then the other thing is that perhaps all you want to do with us in the Ageless Workout is have a conversation. Nate, I ain't feeling too well. I don't know what it is. Have you ever had this kind of challenge? So it becomes, sort of coaching. And I got that certification through Precision Nutrition. I have the 1 and the 2. So I'm able to do nutrition counseling or coaching, right? And I'm not an expert in terms of nutrition, but sometimes you find people who have a degree in nutrition. Maybe they're not giving you the right conversation either. But what I can do is make recommendations. If you need to go further, I'll do that with you. If you want to work on your glutes and your quads, then I am an expert with working on glutes and quads. So I have training around what chain work, right? I had a Russian come to Miami and teach me how to work with U9 chains. It's a stability program. We work with balls. I mean, so I could go on and on because we felt like at this age, we had to have all of the tools, right? And so we put those together and in a package, and we can do some of that work with a group in about 45 minutes. We also work with individuals or small groups. And then the other thing I do as a part of this Ageless Workout is I do myofascial release and stretching. So I roll out with a foam roller, or we have Theraguns, hypervotes. I mean, I hope I'm talking a language that people can understand. So it's a 360 approach to having a fitness experience. And then the other piece is that we make recommendations to people because we're not experts in things like if you have problems with your feet, if you need a chiropractor. We know some of the best people in the business. So that's the real crux of the Ageless Workout.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. So Nate, but if people want to follow you or they want to find you online, where would they go?
So Instagram, Ageless Workout, Facebook, Nathaniel Oliver Wilkins, or the Ageless Workout. I spent a lot of time on LinkedIn, Nathaniel Oliver Wilkins. And then I actually have a page on there, Changing Lives, as well, because been writing a little bit and sharing my thoughts. So there's a couple of pages on LinkedIn. Then on YouTube, it's Ageless Workout. So what we've tried to do is put all of the Ageless Workout ideas and concepts together. We have a website, Ageless Workout, and then the sister company is Panache Fitness with Sheba. And, I forgot to tell you that Sheba and I actually team up sometimes to give people an ultimate Ageless workout like they've never seen before. So, it is really an idea, I think, whose time has come.
That's awesome. Well, I definitely encourage people to look at the workouts, definitely on YouTube. If not, if you're in the Miami area, to go check them out in person. Nate, thank you so much. This has been great.
Hey, thank you.